What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Fight IQ MMA. Today, we're breaking down the latest drama surrounding Arman Tsarukyan and the UFC. According to his teammate, the promotion might be sending him a message following his last-minute withdrawal from UFC 311. As you may remember, Dana White announced that Tsarukyan wouldn't be granted another title shot after he pulled out just one day before his scheduled fight against Islam Makhachev, citing a back injury. While White didn't publicly criticize him, many analysts and fighters speculated that the UFC wasn't happy with the situation. Now, one of Tsarukyan's teammates has added fuel to the fire. But before we dive deeper, don't forget to drop a like on this video. It really helps support the channel. For months, fans were buzzing about a potential rematch between Tsarukyan and Makhachev. The fight was finally set for UFC 311 in January, but Tsarukyan withdrew at the last minute, citing back issues. Since then, there's been no update on his next fight or opponent. Adding to the uncertainty, Ilia Topuria vacated the featherweight title, sparking rumors about him potentially moving up to challenge for the lightweight belt. Tsarukyan's teammate, Eduard Vartanyan, recently spoke with Usha Taika, shedding light on the situation. He believes Arman will become a champion within the next 2 to 3 years, and possibly even sooner. However, he also suggested that the UFC might be using this situation to send Tsarukyan a message. According to Vartanyan, Arman has fully recovered from his back injury and is now training at full capacity. It's an interesting perspective, but not entirely surprising. When Tsarukyan withdrew, many speculated that the UFC wasn't convinced his injury was severe, leading to rumors that the promotion might be sidelining him for the time being. So, who do you think Arman should fight next? There's been talk of a rematch with Charles Oliveira, whom he narrowly defeated via split decision last April. Would you be interested in that matchup, or should the UFC go in a different direction? Could we see him face the winner of Gaethje versus Evloev? Now, let's shift gears to the heavyweight division. Tom Aspinall has provided an update on his potential fight with Jon Jones. With the first quarter of 2025 nearly over, we're still waiting for confirmation on whether Jones and Aspinall will actually step into the octagon together. According to Aspinall, the delay is entirely on Jones and his team. For months, speculation has been swirling about this matchup. Aspinall has been vocal about wanting the fight, while Jones has repeatedly dismissed it. After Jones's victory over Stipe Miocic last November, he did acknowledge that he'd fight Aspinall if the UFC made the right offer. However, months have passed, and there's still no official word. In a recent video update, Aspinall shared his perspective on the situation, adding fuel to the ongoing debate. Is Jones avoiding the fight, or is it just a matter of negotiations?
Where we're at right now is I have spoke to the UFC on multiple occasions about this fight. I'm chasing it up. I want the fight. Been on record and said that I want the fight. I've been on the phone with the UFC saying that I want the fight. When's it happening? I want the fight more than anyone. What is holding it up right now is his side. That's the truth of it. The UFC really want the fight to happen. They've told me that. This is, as I said, this is one of the biggest fights that can be made. Does he want to put himself in a position where he's comfortable enough financially to take the risk that he's taking to fight me?
It's certainly concerning that no fight has been officially signed yet, though it's not entirely surprising given Jon Jones's history of contractual disputes with the UFC. Dana White has repeatedly assured fans that the promotion will finalize the fight, but the delay has raised some eyebrows. Interestingly, in the same discussion, Aspinall mentioned that she's eager to fight, regardless of whether it's against Jones. This raises the question, could we see the interim champion compete in the meantime? And if so, who would they face? In other news, Leon Edwards had expressed interest in fighting Belal Muhammad. Initially, Jack Della Maddalena was moved from UFC London to UFC 315 for a title fight with Muhammad. However, Edwards also reportedly asked the UFC about being moved to the May 10th card. Originally, JDM was scheduled to face Edwards at UFC's March 22nd event in England, but with top contender Shavkat Rakhmonov reportedly dealing with an injury, the UFC asked JDM to face champion Muhammad at UFC 315 instead. As a result, Sean Brady has been tapped to fight Edwards in London. Edwards recently revealed that he had pushed for a rematch with Muhammad a couple of weeks prior, stating, "I was in talks with the UFC trying to step in to fight Belal, but I knew they had sold London around me, so if they took me off the card and left Jack on it, I'd have a new opponent, Sean Brady. It should be a good fight." It makes sense that the UFC was reluctant to move Edwards from the UFC London main event. given his popularity in England. However, it's worth questioning whether the UFC was even interested in booking Edwards against Muhammad again, especially since Edwards hasn't fought since his one-sided loss to the champion last July. Edwards also mentioned that he's been told the winner of his fight with Brady will get a title shot next. If that's the case, either Edwards or Brady could be sidelined for a while, depending on how quickly Rakhmonov recovers and returns to action. Meanwhile, Paddy Pimblett has reignited his feud with Ilia Topuria. After Topuria vacated the featherweight title and announced his move to lightweight, tensions between the two have escalated. Their rivalry began in 2022 when Pimblett made comments alluding to Russia's invasion of Georgia, which didn't sit well with Topuria, who is of Georgian descent. This led to a heated exchange at a fighter hotel ahead of a London event. While talk of a potential fight between the two had died down as Topuria focused on featherweight and eventually won the title, the buzz has resurfaced now that Topuria is moving up to lightweight. In a recent interview with TMZ Sports, Pimblett doubled down on his call-out, stating that he still wants to settle the score with El Matador. With both fighters now in the same division, the possibility of a clash seems more realistic than ever.
So obviously Conor's the money fight. Illy is what do we say? I don't know, it's a bitter one. It's a fight that I wanna do. You know, ever since he tried to steal it on me in London, I've always wanted to beat him up, and he's still talking about me in interviews, making lies up. So I'd love to batter that little but it's more about the belt for me.
With Ilia Topuria now moving up to lightweight, the chances of a future showdown between him and Paddy Pimblett have significantly increased. However, several factors need to align before this potential clash can materialize. First, Pimblett must get past Michael Chandler, whom he's scheduled to face at UFC 314 on April 12th. Meanwhile, Topuria is likely to either compete in a title eliminator or be tapped to face the current lightweight champion, Islam Makhachev, depending on how the division unfolds. If both Topuria and Pimblett emerge victorious in their respective fights, the stage could be set for a highly anticipated grudge match. The question is, if they do eventually face off, who would you pick to win? In other news, Manel Kape found himself under fire after his victory at UFC Vegas 103 this past Saturday. While Kape secured a pivotal win by stopping his opponent, Asu Almabayev, with a series of punches in the third round, many fans and critics argued that the victory should come with an asterisk due to the fouls Kape committed during the fight. In rounds 2 and 3, Kape was accused of multiple eye pokes and face rakes, with one of the fouls occurring just moments before the fight ended. Despite the controversy, Kape immediately called for a title shot after the win. However, his performance drew sharp criticism, particularly from his longtime rival Muhammad Mokaev. The former UFC flyweight contender took to social media to call out Kape, writing, "Dirty fighter, popped on steroids, eye poked and didn't even stop. When I eye poked you, I stopped and let you recover. I apologized for what happened between us, and I thought it ended, but you still talk about me in every interview because I live in your head. I beat you not even in my prime and pulled your pants down in front of the whole world. You'll be my son for the rest of your life." For context, Kape was flagged for banned substances in 2022 due to elevated levels of M3, though he was never suspended. However, the fouls in his latest fight have drawn far more attention than his past controversies. Despite the backlash, it remains to be seen whether the UFC will grant Kape a title shot against current flyweight champion Alexandre Pantoja. The two previously fought in 2021, with Pantoja securing a unanimous decision victory. When asked about a potential rematch during the post-fight press conference, Kape expressed confidence in his ability to avenge the loss, though he didn't elaborate on how he plans to approach the fight differently. As the flyweight division continues to heat up, Kape's recent win, and the controversy surrounding it, has certainly added another layer of intrigue to the title picture.
I'm in another dimension of the fight, and things being good. I'm in my timing. I'm being show. I'm in a flow state, and definitely with Pantoja, my style with him is gonna match very well. and I believe that I'm definitely gonna stop him.
The question of whether Manel Kape deserves a title shot is a contentious one. While Kape secured a significant victory at UFC Vegas 103, his performance was marred by multiple fouls, including eye pokes and face rakes, which have led to criticism from fans and fighters alike. Additionally, Kape is not far removed from his loss to Muhammad Mokaev, which further complicates his case for a title shot. Despite these issues, Kape has been vocal about his desire to challenge flyweight champion Alexandre Pantoja, whom he lost to via unanimous decision in 2021. Interestingly, during the post-fight show, Pantoja was interviewed, and UFC 316, scheduled for June 7th in Newark, New Jersey, was prominently displayed on the screen. This has sparked speculation that Pantoja vs. Kape 2 could headline the event. While Kape's recent win keeps him in the title conversation, the controversy surrounding his fighting style and past losses may make the UFC hesitant to grant him an immediate title opportunity. Movsar Evloev reacts to Alexander Volkanovski's call-out. Alexander Volkanovski has made it clear that if he reclaims the featherweight title at UFC 314, he intends to call out Movsar Evloev for his next fight. Volkanovski, who is set to face Diego Lopes on April 12th for the vacant featherweight title, recently stated on the Ariel Helwani show, "Who better to fight next than the guy who beat my upcoming opponent? I'm winning the belt, and I'll call out Movsar Evloev. Tell me the date and I'll be ready." Evloev, who holds a decision win over Lopes from May 2023, responded to Volkanovski's call-out with a respectful message. "Alexander Volkanovski, good luck in your next fight. I know you're going to beat this guy. He's my chicken." Evloev's undefeated record and his victory over Lopes make him a logical contender for the title. But his relatively inactive schedule, only 2 fights since the Lopes win, may be a factor in the UFC's decision-making. If Volkanovski wins the title, a fight against Evloev would be a compelling matchup for the featherweight division. Magomed Ankalaev sends a warning to Alex Pereira. With UFC 313 just days away, Magomed Ankalaev continues to ramp up his verbal attacks on light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira. Ankalaev, who is undefeated in his last 13 fights, has been vocal about his intentions to dominate Pereira. In a recent social media post, Ankalaev declared, "Training camps are finished. I'm ready for war. Saturday night I will change this guy's face. I'm looking for a finish from the first minute. He's a man walking. I'm going to drown him." However, there's some discrepancy in Ankalaev's warnings. While he initially suggested he's hunting for a quick stoppage, he later alluded to drowning Pereira, which implies a prolonged, grueling fight. Most analysts believe Ankalaev will rely on his wrestling to neutralize Pereira's striking, but whether he can execute this strategy remains to be seen. Adding to the drama, Ankalaev revealed in an interview with Sport 24 that he was reluctant to fight during Ramadan, but felt compelled to accept the bout due to the lack of championship fights available for March. Fighting during Ramadan is a problem, but we had no other choice because UFC 313 was left without a main event. I think it's not Alex's wish. The UFC decided this, Ankalaev explained. Alex Pereira's weight and controversial bet proposal. Ahead of UFC 313 fight week, Alex Pereira stepped on the scale, revealing he currently weighs 103.2 kg, 227.5 lbs. Meanwhile, Pereira stirred controversy by challenging Ankalaev to a $200,000 charity bet. The issue? Ankalaev is Muslim, and betting is considered haram, forbidden, in Islam, especially during Ramadan. The MMA community quickly criticized Pereira for the proposal, with many accusing him of intentionally targeting Ankalaev's religious beliefs. Comments flooded social media, with fans expressing their disapproval. Asking a Muslim to bet during Ramadan is just wrong. Why is he asking a Muslim to bet, especially during Ramadan? This is scummy behavior. Charity is standard. Anyway, this feels like nervous energy from Pereira, Ankalaev responded diplomatically, posting, Salam alaikum, we will answer tomorrow. Ramadan Mubarak. The situation has added an extra layer of tension to an already highly anticipated fight.